My first act in Parliament would be to speak out on Gaza and call out the power of the Israeli lobby. I would name in Parliament every single member of that Parliament who has received money from the Israeli lobby and explain to people that the reason that these people support Israel is because they are bought and paid for.
Former British Ambassador Craig Murray is running to be MP for Blackburn in protest at the UK government's support for Israel. Murray is a whistleblower who exposed Britain's complicity in torture during the War on Terror. Declassified visited his campaign headquarters above a cafe to hear how he was getting on.
The political establishment are losing the plot at the moment. They have lost control of the narrative over Gaza. The vast majority of people of all races and creeds are against the genocide in Gaza, yet we have a political and media class which is promoting it. The political class are insisting on providing diplomatic support for Israel and still supplying arms, intelligence and logistical support to Israel despite everything that's happened, and the media putting out a story about Gaza which is simply untrue. The control is slipping and they're panicking. What do we do now? Well, let's arrest people. So they started arresting people for saying from a river to the sea or for having a picture of a hang glider. These crazy arrests, and they detained me under the Terror Act, whereas fairly plain to everyone, I think I'm not a terrorist.
Murray stood for election in Blackburn back in 2005 against Labour's then Foreign Secretary Jack Straw. He was unsuccessful then, but believes there's even more anger at Labour this time over Gaza.
Normally at this period of an election, Blackburn would be a sea of red posters, and almost every house, literally every other house, would have a Labour leaflet or poster in the window. Today there's almost nothing out there. There's enormous anger with Labour, with their servitude to Labour friends of Israel, their service to the Zionist lobby, the fact they're bought. The things Starmer said about it being perfectly legal to cut off water and electricity, which is just simply wrong. The Labour Party is still not saying it will stop arms sales to Israel.
Murray is a candidate for the Workers' Party. He's known its leader George Galloway since the 1970s, and both men reject the idea of a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict.
The Workers' Party is the only party, I believe, which wants to see a single democratic Palestine, because the notion that there remains a viable Palestinian state made up of the wreckage of Gaza and the tiny bits left over of the West Bank which are separated and walled in and have little access to natural resources and are losing their fields and pastures every day to Israeli settlement, and the bits of remaining East Jerusalem, the idea that constitutes a viable state is obviously a complete nonsense. So we believe in a single state of Palestine, which is democratic, which doesn't practice apartheid, and which is blind to people's ethnicity or religion.
The bookies reckon Murray will come second in Blackburn behind Labour's Kate Holland. Ladbrokes has the odds of Murray winning at 8-1, but his campaign is dogged by a rival pro-Palestine candidate, independent Adnan Hussein, threatening to split the vote. Murray believes the Workers' Party can appeal beyond the sizeable Muslim community in Blackburn.
Disillusion with the Labour Party doesn't only exist in the Muslim community here, it exists in other communities too. And I think the Labour vote is going to fall across all communities. People are very upset with Starmer moving the Labour Party so far to the right. And in the debates on immigration and even on economics, Starmer has been attacking Sunak from the right, not from the left, saying he's insufficiently Thatcherite, his spending plans are too ambitious, and that Starmer would be better in stopping immigration. Labour would be firmer on immigration than the Tories. Now, you can't move the Labour Party that far to the right and not lose support on the left. And Blackburn is a town which has not just always been Labour, which has a strong socialist tradition. So there's disgust with Labour, not just over the Gaza genocide, there's disgust over its move to the economic right. Rachel Reeves, I think, is somewhere well to the right of Thatcher in terms of economic policy. So we are emphasising the Workers' Party is the only party which is campaigning to renationalise all public utilities. So electricity, gas, water, these all should be brought back into public ownership because they've been starved of investment as tens of billions of pounds have been taken out in dividends by the shareholders, but no investment has gone into making them better. And there's been massive profiteering, particularly in the energy industry recently, with huge increases in prices which were not justified by increases in wholesale prices, which were simply a blip at the start of the Ukraine war and didn't last. So that's a massively popular policy. Ending tuition fees is a massively popular policy. That's extremely important. And as someone who's from Scotland and was a rector of a Scottish university, we don't have tuition fees in Scotland. And for Starmer to say it's unaffordable, well, it's not unaffordable. We do it in Scotland. These things are a matter of personal policy choice. These things are a matter, I don't mean personal choice, I mean policy choice. These are things which Labour chooses to prioritise other things over. And they're claiming that they're going to increase defence spending by 25%, massive increase in defence spending, and continue sending money to Ukraine. We've already wasted £60 billion on the Ukraine war. And they're going to continue doing that more and more, instead of improving the NHS, instead of improving social services, instead of bringing the social care. So these are policy choices, and the Labour Party has made very clear where it stands. And we make plain that we stand with the opposite.
Whatever happens in Blackburn, Murray's campaign is part of a wider trend in British politics, where whistleblowers and victims of the establishment are getting organised and running for power, from East London to the north of England, often under the banner of Independence, Workers' Party or Greens. A new challenge to Labour is emerging from the left, largely in protest of foreign policy elites that look set to continue beyond the 4th of July.